Our final lecture in the course is going to talk about the future of media and what it looks like in the digital age, because certainly that's the landscape we are in now. And we need to really be considering how some of these topics we've explored in this course are going to need to adapt or flex to what the future of media is going to look like. So, the main components we'll be talking about in this lecture is first how the media's landscape is evolving rapidly and how digital technology has spurred the need for innovation and has shifted the way we look at media as a society. We'll also talk about how media plays an important role in shaping societies and businesses. As you know, many of our theories in this course have focused around this idea of how the media is a shaping or guiding force for society as a whole. And last, we'll talk about the digital transformation that is influenced with media consumption and how our own media consumption can change how we think, feel, and perceive the world around us. So, as I noted, the landscape of media is rapidly changing and is really ever changing. This is something we're seeing with the digital media revolution. This includes, of course, the rise of social media platforms and really the dominance of these platforms in terms of where we find our information and where we find our news. We also, of course, have seen the growth of streaming services like Netflix, Disney Plus, Hulu, which has in turn led to the decline of some traditional media. Certainly, we've seen newspaper subscriptions dwindle. We've seen people cutting the cord and no longer using cable TV and focusing on those streaming services. And what that has done has really concentrated much of society to these digital softwares, whether it's social media or a streaming service. We now find that users are finding a majority of information that they use in their day-to-day life from these sources. Another important trend that we're seeing in media that is going to revolutionize how it's what its functionality is and how it's used are the aspects of artificial intelligence. So AI has really become, of course, a hot topic as we see the rise of AI amongst all of the different industries and environments. And one thing we really see happening with this integration of AI is this need for more personalized content. It's not only a tool in helping to create personalized content, but it also is creating a greater demand for personalized content. As part of this, we also have augmented reality or AR and virtual reality, VR, which we can see many different, especially social media platforms, focusing on these types of experiences, really thinking about how we can take interpersonal communication to the digital realm. We also see discussions of blockchain and how things like cryptocurrency can be used for content security and monetization. And then we see, of course, the rise of user-generated content and what we call citizen journalism, which is the ability for your everyday person to actually publish materials and participate in conversations that were once really held by traditional media. Because of this, it allows the general user on a social media platform or an AR platform to carry weight with their message in a way that wasn't traditionally available to them. This is why, of course, we've seen the rise in influencers, the rise in non-traditional media sources because of this citizen journalism effort. So what role does AI currently play in media? Well, first, we know it helps to drive content recommendations. There are many streaming services, platforms, programs that are already using AI to help create algorithms for you. This includes YouTube, Spotify, where they're really using the AI to help generate things they think you would be interested in based on your behaviors and interactions online. We also can see more automated journalism and AI-generated news, where AI is taking and summarizing or synthesizing information from the news and delivering it in a really direct way, which makes it almost instantaneous. And then last, the AI-powered image and video editing. We know that this is something that many creatives are excited about and also concerned about because we can see the power AI has in generating images and video. Additionally, we're going to see trends in how social media and its influence are studied, analyzed, and incorporated into media strategies. Certainly, we're going to see influencers and content creators continuing to be big voices in this arena. This has become a real specialization for content creators in that they create a following, and much like a citizen journalist, they become a predominant way in which people get their information. We also have seen a rise in short form video content, whether that's on TikTok or Instagram Reels. What this has created for many media consumers is a demand for short form content where they're looking for that quicker soundbite, that quicker video that's going to get right to the point. But also, along with social media comes some challenges, including the discussions we've had about misinformation and digital ethics, which, of course, is something we can also apply to AI and artificial intelligence. We do need to consider the future of news and journalism because these technologies have really innovated the way we consume information. It's very likely, and we've already seen its effect in many ways, that this digital revolution is going to influence what news and journalism look like. So we have already seen a shift to digital first reporting, meaning that they focus on getting the news up on the website first before they think about putting it into a print edition. We've also seen many news organizations shift to subscription-based or ad-supported journalism to help maintain some sort of money flow to support their journalistic services. And then, of course, we've seen the impact of fake news and the importance of fact-checking initiatives because we can see how quickly fake news can spread, particularly on platforms like social media. That's streaming and on-demand content, and why there really is a demand for this. This really has been not only a reflection of the changing viewer habits and the cord-cutting trends to television, but it also is a reflection of how we want to tailor what we enjoy consuming to suit our needs specifically. So we see platforms that are beginning to dominate this arena because of the diversity of content they put out and the large amount of content they already have available. Now, what we can anticipate in the future is that there's going to continue to be battles between these streaming giants because, of course, they're competing for your attention, your subscription, your money. Now, we have seen many who will team up with one another to do sort of package deals when they're owned by the same owner, but that's not always going to be the case for every streaming platform. So this is something we're going to continue to watch as these streaming services only continue to dominate how we absorb and entertain ourselves. I also want to briefly discuss the metaverse. This is connected with that idea of virtual reality or augmented reality. And the idea is that when we see this augmented reality fully integrated, right, there's initial ideas out there, there's a lot of prototypes, there's a lot of beta testing going on right now. It will change how we consume media. It's going to have things like virtual concerts, digital events, immersive experiences. This is going to revolutionize how we actually interact with media. And because of this, we know they're going to be able to monetize opportunities in these virtual worlds. So the same way things would cost money out here in the real world, it is very likely they're going to cost money in the metaverse as well. Now, as we observe this evolving media and we participate in the evolution of digital media, we do have to address our ethical concerns. First, we know there is a significant concern attached to privacy and data security issues. Most of us have, at this point, had our information leaked in some way, and been disrupted in some way. This is something that we're going to probably continue to see as a rising issue because all of these platforms do require profiles, accounts, and that, of course, makes us susceptible to these types of security issues. We also have ethical concerns about the algorithm bias and the digital echo chambers it can create. Even though they are really effective in tailoring content to exactly what we want to see, on the inverse, it also creates a siloing effect where we become really isolated from diverse opinions, diverse perspectives, and this can be just as dangerous for us because we're no longer taking in all of these different perspectives and finding our own. We're just finding content that agrees with us. And because of this, there are concerns about regulation and content moderation. How do we align with freedom of speech, but also how do we enforce platform policy? How do we protect our users without limiting our users? And so we continue to see platforms reconciling with what this looks like on a platform to platform basis, because it is such a difficult challenge to maneuver. And there's a real question about who should be in charge of this moderation. Should it be the platform itself? Should it be the users? Should it be a combination of the two? Should there be, controls we can put on our content to prevent from seeing certain types of things? That's something we're going to continue to have to navigate, especially because these platforms are only becoming more and more accessible. So in conclusion, these key trends really are shaping the future of media. These ethical concerns, our questions about artificial intelligence, our look at augmented reality, they're going to really shift how we understand media as a whole. And because of this, it reinforces the importance of our adaptability in the digital age. In fact, many of these media theories scale up really well to these innovations and these technologies. It just requires us to have that thorough understanding. The better we understand these theories, the easier it is going to be for us to navigate this modern look at media. And then last, my final thoughts on media's role in society's evolution. As we know, media is fundamental into the inner workings of society. It is the predominant way that we actually disseminate information out to the world. We share information with one another. Of course, it's also a way we connect with people and create and build community. I think this is something that is only going to continue with society's evolution. It's something that we are certainly very dependent on. But how we consume it and where we get that information from, that is going to continue to shift. Oftentimes, that's going to shift to what is the dominant technology. So while right now it feels like social media and these streaming platforms are where we are at in terms of where we get information from, that could be totally different in the next 10, 15, 20 years. So we need to be prepared to really scale these skills we've learned in this class and these theories we've learned in this class to these modern adaptations of what media can look like in the future.